Hello, everyone. What a pleasure to yet again share with you a very quick D'var Torah. We have to ask ourselves a fundamental question. What is Parshas Pekude doing here? It's one thing that 800 years ago, when universally we decided let's finish the Torah once a year, a minhag that always existed but now is universal. And of course we realize, there aren't enough of these so-called parshios for each year in the 19-year cycle, and they divided up parshios, and those parshios make sense because they talk about different themes. Thematically, dividing them, splitting them, is understandable. Vayalko Pekude, what are you doing to us? As a Rav, I have to come up with another drush about the Mishkan. But it's even deeper. Why is Pekude in the Torah at all? There are entire systems of law, mesechtas and shas, predicated upon a handful of psukim. Bava Kama, Bava Metzia, Bava Basar, Sanhedrin, Bechoros, because the list goes on and on. Many of them that are hinging on Torah Sheba'al Peh. Think of Shabbos, Eruvin. And yet here you have the Mishkan, which is never to exist again. Even in Shiloh it was different. A brief blip in our history. It's not just taught. And it's not just taught in great specificity and in careful detail, but to the point of redundancy. It's taught again and again and again and again. There's a famous idea that if you calculate all the elements of the Mishkan just based on psukim, the krashim, the aron, the menorah, the loops, etc., you could count it yourself. It equals 613. Now that's amazing, but that's 613 in a Torah that doesn't waste ink, and it's not just listed once. So what is the point of Pekude? What is Hashem telling us? I think this question, as simple, elementary as it is, its answer is fundamental. And let me tell you a little story. Not even a story, a little factoid. About 20 years ago, the New York Times, in May of 2000, if anybody wants, I could send you the article, reported about a construction worker in the northeast of a large country of Brazil, in a little place called Recife. And there was a storefront, they were doing some construction, and they found a room. Now imagine the street was all open, and people walking by watching this work, and they see this door they never knew was there. It was dormant for 400 years. They open the door, move away the cobwebs. What do they see? They see a pool with stairs going down. And an Israeli tourist happened by, sees what's going on, looks at the big chasm in the road, and sees what they see and says, "Ze mikvah, ze mikvah." And it was a mikvah. 400 years ago, even further, Adam Smith mentions in the late 1500s how Jews started to get involved in the sugar trade and moved to Recife, which was run by the Dutch. It was a Dutch colony. And by the year 1610, the first tshuvas that are actually quoted on the side of the Shulchan Aruch came from Europe to the Americas, to this Recife. They were below the border, the equator, questions of Visain Tal. And in the 1620, 1624, the first Rav came, and they built everything. Talmud Torah, Gemachim, Chaver Kadisha, Shuls, Bati Midrashim, you name it. They didn't know that in 10 years, 15 years, the Spanish Portuguese will have enough of this colony and go to war. They left with barely anything. Those that did leave, many died. The Rav actually wrote an autobiographical account of that time. In fact, one ship that went to Amsterdam was capsized on the way, and they ended up going to New Amsterdam. It was the first, in 1654, the first mass group of Jews to arrive in this great city. Why do I share this? How does this relate to our question? We were by Har Sinai because, like a mountain, the Torah is unchanging. You could stop a river from flowing, but you can't move a mountain. It's unchanging, the Torah. But while the Torah is unchanging, there's another lesson. It also has to have portability. We discuss over and over again the building, the construction, the deconstruction, the construction, the deconstruction of the Mishkan, because ma'asa ava siman lebanim. That's what we're going to have to do. We move to Spain, we build yeshivas, we build a chaver kadisha, a mikvah, gemachim. We have to leave, we take it down. We move to Germany, into Poland, Lithuania, we build it up again. We don't know how long we're going to be there, but we build it as if we're going to be there ad Bias Goel. And Nazis come, we take it down, and we cross the Atlantic, come to America, and build it again. Rabbi Aaron Kotler, Rabbi Soloveitchik, Rabbi Ruderman, they didn't know how long we were going to be here, but they wanted to create something that is unchanging, that is perfect, that represents the Torah, but represents portability. Wherever we go, the Torah has to be portable. That's why the Mishkan is repeated over and over again. It gave us the strength for the past 2,000 years to do what they did for 40 years. Now, it's been a long time in America. We've done it to great success. In fact, I was on vacation in Orlando. Just one Shabbos Yeshiva week. They had Avos Ubanim. They had a Kumsitz. They had, you name it. It was as if this was a real community, even though it was just a weekend. Mika Amcha Yisrael. The Mishkan is what gave us our strength throughout Gullus to keep the Torah, keep it perfectly, with great specificity, wherever we go. Let us hope that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees that we took these lessons from the Torah, that the unchanging Torah was moved from place to place, wherever we go, and built. And let us not have to destroy or witness the destruction of shuls and yeshivas ever again. May we be zoche in this chos to see the truest Mishkan by a shlishi sheyavo b'mehera. Good Shabbos, everyone.